I printed out the plane, but I was having some issues with printing. If you see the bottom of this, over here it's not getting the full R, and over here it was getting the full R. So I tried a couple times. What I had to do was I had to change the print size a little bit smaller. So I printed it out, and it had a little bit of a white border, and then I cut it out to look like this. Now I kept this so that I would know how to fold it correctly, and I folded it back up to see how it looked, and it looked pretty good. So again, this is the black and white model. The bottom would be black if I printed it in color. The top here should be red. Now, the one issue that I notice is there's a black line here that isn't over here. So I either want that black line over here as well. It's not a huge issue, I could go with that. Maybe I just folded it wrong. So what I did was I printed it out again, cut out the white from the outside, started folding it, and the one thing I noticed was, so this goes to a point, and the first step is to fold that in half, and the point's on the other side, which that's not the issue. The point is slightly to the one side. I don't know if I can show you that there. So what happens is, when we do the next step of folding these here, see how that side, it gets the black line, whereas this side, it doesn't get the black line. So I need to fix that, or I want to fix that. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna open up Photoshop with my template. Remember, I saved it as a Photoshop file. Let me open that here. So I've got my Photoshop template. Now, I need a couple things to help me out with this. The first couple is I'm gonna go into View, and I'm gonna add rulers on here. And what that did was, you can see the ruler show up around my picture. Now I'm gonna do one other thing. I think I can also add somewhere in here, I want to show a grid over top of it. There we go. That grid's gonna help me out. Now let me just hide my display just for a minute, because we want to see the layers also. Okay, so we've got the layers here. One thing that I noticed, let's suppose it'll be easier if I get that line on both of them. So I'm gonna go with that, at least initially. I'm gonna get the line tool here. And, oops, did I select it? No, the line tool here. And if I look, here is where this red meets the black, pretty much at this grid line. But if I go straight across, that's not where it meets it at the other side. So let me just draw that line. So now there's a black line there if I zoom in. I need to kind of cut in to this right here at this grid line. It looks to your eye like it matches up. Now another thing, let me just go in a little bit closer even. Another thing is, this paper is 8.5. So if I'm not sure, I can grab my calculator and do 8.5 divided by 2, because if I want the center of the paper, it'll tell me 8.5 divided by 2 is 4.25. So that's right about here. 4, there's 4.5. There's right here is 4.25, which is 4.25, which is this grid line right here. If we notice, that is slightly to the right of that. So I'm going to put a dot right there. I can't put it on the shape. Let me come back over to here. What's this layer? Maybe I'll put it on here. Ooh, this is a big dot, so I'm gonna move it up. There we go. So I need the black to hit that grid line there and also hit right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab that line. I'm gonna go from this grid point here down to the center here. I'm gonna draw that. There we go. Now this, I think, will be a little bit better. That's kind of a thick line that I've made. Yeah, I might undo that. I might start a little bit higher. Oh, I drew that line across there. Okay, so this will work. Still, I'm going to come right down to here. There we go. Looks pretty good. Maybe I'll just extend it a little bit up here. So that's a point. Even though this gets cut off, that's kind of that's all hidden anyway. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off a couple layers here. What's this layer? I'm gonna flatten this layer. Merge visible. I'm going to flatten these ones that I can see. There we go. So that the reason why I'm doing that is so that I can fill this with black. There we go. And it did give a little bit of a line there, so I'm going to just color that to fix it up. Oops. Put a little dot down there. Color this to fix it up. And it left a little triangle here because I drew the line up there and I drew the line across to get them both the same. So there we go. So now, if I zoom out, it still looks the exact same as it was, but it's a little bit more centered than it was previously. And I'm hoping that this is going to fix any issue that I have. While I'm in here though, one thing that I'm noticing is this R goes right to this grid line, whereas this R does not. It is slightly off from that grid line. Now because I've flattened them, this is going to be a little bit of an issue. So what I can do is I can go like this. And so a little bit past is okay because this one's a little bit past. So I'm trying to get those two the same. But now it leaves this open spot, which I don't like. So I gotta go back here and I'm gonna color that in. I've still got the black selected. I'm gonna color that in so you can't even tell. Now I'm gonna merge these two layers. Layer, merge visible. So now it's all one. It's as if I didn't even do that. I am going to save this. It took me a little bit to figure out the printing again, so I wasted a couple more pieces of paper, but I've learned how to do it. So the problem I was getting is it would give me more space above the R on this side than it would on the other side. So that would have given me the same problem as before, and what it was doing was it was cutting that little piece off. So I was trying a whole bunch of different printer settings. It might have just been that one printer. I said, make the border even all the way around. That still didn't help. I don't know what I tried on this one, but that still didn't help. Until I found the button that said shrink to fit. and that one fixed it. So I printed 2 of those. This is another good copy. This is what it looks like. So I cut the white off around the outside, folded it up, and all those edits that I made fixed it perfectly. Remember, the printer's not perfect, so I'm gonna go and print it in color in a minute and we'll see what it looks like. But this is what most people will be handing in, is something like this. So this will all be black with the Res logos on each of the wings. This will all be red, and like I said in the last video, I found it easier to keep that little black stripe than to get rid of it. So now both sides have that black stripe and it looks the same. So this one looks pretty good. This is what we would submit as the black version, and then digitally we would submit our template, and we also have to submit the instructions on how to build this. So I haven't made the instructions yet, but I would need to make some instructions on how to build this plane. What I'm gonna do is I'll be back. I'm going to print this, now that I know that it works and it looks good, I'm gonna print this in color and show you what a final product may look like.